Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 action science fiction epic Occupation Rainfall, a film that is written and directed by Luke Spark, and it stars Dan Ewing, Tamura Morrison, Daniel Gillies, Zach Garrett and Jet Tranter. Now this is an Australian science fiction film that focuses on humanity 2 years after aliens have tried to occupy our planet. Essentially, humanity is now at war with this alien race, and we follow a group of survivors on two fronts, really. We've got a smaller group that head off trying to find out something, find more detail on something called rainfall, a word that keeps coming up, so they've gone to try and find out more information on what that is and what it can mean. And the people back at the base essentially have to try and protect what they've got from alien forces that are invading their locations. Right. What are my thoughts on Occupation Rainfall? Woo. Don't watch this film, guys, without headache tablets at the ready, because this is an assault of the senses, this film. How best to describe this film? It's messy, it's loud, there's lots of shooting and shouting. It feels like a throwback to a science fiction film from the 90s. It feels like a cross between Terminator, a la like the Future Wars, more like Terminator Salvation type of thing, and Independence Day, and some of the designs from things like Predator and other sci-fi that's come before it. It feels like a mismatch of all sorts of things. Now, if you're looking for a pretty, well, I was about to say easy to watch, and some aspects of this film aren't easy to watch, but if you're looking for kind of a brainless action science fiction film with lots of shouting and shooting and, you know, laser guns and, you know, aliens and things like that, you could do worse than this, I suppose. The big problem I found with this film is it was just so messy and all over the place. Far too long, the film. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes long. It could have done with easily a good 20-25 minutes edited out of it, this film. It's chock packed full of characters with very little to do, and it's one of those films where you're like, okay, what are they doing? No, I've forgotten. What's his name? What's his role in the film? And it is very, very predictable and, you know, tick box type sci-fi action film, really. There's a human bad guy that you can see coming a mile away. There's injections of comedy because we have Ken Jeong making an appearance here, who you will remember from things like the Hangover films. He tries to inject a little bit of comedy here. Feels a bit out of place, a bit misplaced for me, the comedy that they try and put into this film. And like I say, it'll slow down for a few minutes and you'll get a talky bit of characters trying to emote, which is hilarious in itself, really, most of the time. And then boom, you'll get an excuse, whatever excuse they can think of, to give you a loud, shouty, explosive action scene with lots of shooting and sword fighting and explosions here, there and everywhere, chases, and it's just like, whoa, slow it down please, what's going on? It's almost like they tried to fit 3 films worth of story into one, which is, when you consider the ending that they give you here, and obviously I'm not going to spoil the ending, but the ending to me was like, what on earth are you doing here? After all that, you're giving us this at the end, in the hope that they're going to get a sequel. And the film itself, like I say, it feels like 3 films crammed into one. The brush past the initial invasion, like I say, it's set 2 years after the initial invasion. Maybe the first film should have focused on that, I would have thought. And then the next bit is them, you know, trying to survive and put the military stuff together and fight back against the aliens. And then you've got this other story. Well, you've got another 2 stories. You've got like this bioweapon story here. You know, humans are bad because they're making a bioweapon to fight off these aliens, and of course we don't learn by our mistakes type thing. And then you've got this other story where they're going off looking for this something called rainfall and whatever it is. And it's like, I can't keep track of all that's going on in this film. Please slow down. Please give me time to breathe and take in what is happening with your movie. And it is a shame because at the very core of this is, I would have guessed, a surprisingly exciting action science fiction film. The effects are okay. If you go into this expecting, like Marvel's Avengers Endgame type CGI, you're going to be softly disappointed. But it is very, very passable for the most part, the effects here in this film. It's got a decent budget behind it. Some of the alien designs are interesting, even though some of them dressed in the suits look like they've got Predator helmets on. But some of the effects as well are pretty poor at the same time. So it's a mixed bag, this film, and that's one of the best ways I can describe it. It's a mixed bag. It's messy, it's loud, loads of shooting, loads of shouting, loads going on, but not a lot of it makes sense, unfortunately. I think if they reined themselves back in, slowed the film down a tad, and gave us a better film for us to follow, I think this film would have been far more successful. So I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. It's just too messy. Too much going on in this film. And that is a real shame. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you found it useful. And I will be back, obviously, with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.